Hi, I'm Tom Metzger, your host for Race and Reason, that controversial pro-white TV show seen across the country, dedicated to free speech, real freedom of speech, total freedom of speech, a small island in a sea of controlled and managed news. Today we're going to explore music, neo-Gothic music. Our guest today is Nikolas Schreck and Evil Wilhelm of the Radio Werewolf band.
Good evening, Mr. Metzger.
Nice to have you here.
Greetings.
I noticed your hands are quite cool. Yes. Very cool. You can make of that what you wish. The heart is still beating. We're going to go now to a clip. It's going to show you the kind of music we're talking about. Watch it. How did you like that? I'm going to hold up the picture of the full band here. And Nikolas, would you introduce the rest?
Certainly. Mr. Paul Antonelli on the lycanthropichord, my humble self, Nikolas Schreck, on lead vocals, Mr. Evil Wilhelm on percussion, and Mr. James Filth Collard on the bass guitar.
And that's the entire band. I understand.
The four riders of the apocalypse, as your Bible had it.
Explain this a little bit to our viewers.
It's very difficult to explain something of this majesty and glory to mortal minds. But let me say that Radio Werewolf has returned to this world to restore order and obedience upon the masses and lead the lycanthropic legions, the very best, the elite of our people, to glory.
And you call this music neo-Gothic, Gothic?
Other people put names and labels in our music.
You don't put
it. It is nameless. It is ineffable.
And
it is eternal.
And your band plays around the United States?
I wouldn't put it in such a casual way. What I would say is the Radio Werewolf movement is spreading across the United States.
We select the appropriate venues and times to expose our music to the masses.
So this is some kind of a plot, huh? Is it a plot?
I wouldn't call it a plot, but it is one of the greatest events in the history of the world.
Plot's a very mortal term, I would say.
Have you been investigated by the federal government?
We are the only government that matters in this world. We are the law. We are order. We are justice. We are the avengers.
And you say you're from old times?
We are as ancient as the most ancient, and we are as new as the future. We are the eternal order of the universe, incarnated upon this miserable world.
And your goal is to what?
We cannot completely reveal our goal at this time, but certain foreshadowings of it have been seen in recent history.
Do you feel that our society is...
Our society has never been more decadent and corrupt. But let me correct myself, not our society, your mortal human world. There has never been such a lack of value and knightliness and order in this world. We have come to change all of that once and for all.
Have you been recruiting quite a bit around the country?
There are thousands already. All across this nation, people are waiting for the signal and the sign to rise as masters in a world of mediocrity and slavery.
Now, the name Schreck, I think in German, means terror.
For we are terror, and we will inspire a terror that has never been seen in this globe in the history of the world, because that is the only thing that is needed now.
I've seen your posters around town once in a while. They look pretty scary to me.
If you are scared of Radio Werewolf, then there's something in yourself that you fear.
Is there any possibility of one low like me becoming a member of Radio Werewolf?
We've monitored your activities, Metzger, and there are certain meritable qualities about what you are doing. Therefore, we feel that this is an auspicious time to present you, Thomas A. Metzger, with the official Radio Werewolf Youth Party identification card.
Well, I don't know what to say about this.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's a very great privilege.
I hope.
I also command you to wear this, the Radio Werewolf Youth Party badge. Wear it with pride. Wear it with honor. For you are now a part of an elite secret society destined to rule the world.
I like one part of it. It says the Youth Party. And anytime somebody calls me youth, I get excited about that.
There is no age or time involved with Radio Werewolf.
I'll pin this on. And
you see, the first part of our plan, we must get the youth now before they are completely corrupted by the vile and alien force that controls the entire industry of this world.
I notice you have here in front of you Radio Werewolf in this picture here. And this is Grimsley. I've heard a lot about Grimsley.
Our fearless leader, Grimsley.
Would you explain?
Grimsley is the symbolic standard which all of the new elite of the lycanthropic legions will come to.
And
the eye of Grimsley watches over all human activity, as it always has, in many guises, in many forms. It has worn many masks.
Grimsley is the source of the dominant frequency, which controls all. And we are vehicles to transmit that dominant frequency to the masses.
Well, is this part of the flag of the Radio Werewolf Party? Would you have a flag with Grimsley?
To see in Radio Werewolf a mere party or mere nationalism is not to see the true essence of it. It is even more than a religion. It is the will to create mankind anew.
Is this mysticism we're talking about here, of a type?
Mysticism is some sort of ethereal, airy theory put together by people that cannot live in the real world. We are troubadours of the truth.
Is this black magic?
It is magic, and there is no black or white to magic. It is only the power of our will manifested into this earth.
Now, you must have picked up a lot of enemies traveling along. I've heard that you have some enemies who don't like what you're saying.
The truth always has enemies.
Have you ever been attacked while giving forth your sermon?
We have inspired hatred, and that is good, and we have also inspired much love in those that see the great work that we are doing.
Well, you seem a lot like a church rather than a party. Is it a combination?
It goes beyond politics, beyond religion. It is the future order of the world.
I've heard your music. We've heard your music. We've even seen you in an SS uniform with a swastika on singing Triumph of the Will.
That is one of our songs.
One of your songs. What's some of the other songs that you'd get into?
Our anthem is entitled Werewolf. It symbolizes the need to turn this youth into a merciless, pitiless force, as ruthless as the lycanthrope.
You know, that's interesting. I was reading in history back in the early part of the century where there were thousands of young people that were homeless in New York City, and nobody cared about them. They formed into packs and gangs and became a tremendous power in the streets of New York. I understand that happened in Russia and other cities.
That is the system in which nature works. When we are away from the decadence of our society, we become as merciless as wolves. We want to take youth away. They're being weaned on the decadent nipple of MTV and a culture that feeds them lies. We are taking them into the truth.
And then you will have this influence mentally on them and what they are to do to enforce this power?
Evil Wilhelm is referred to the dominant frequency. That is the broadcasting technique which we use to implant our message into the susceptible minds of our followers.
Is that only in your music, or is there other methods?
There are so many levels of understanding involved in the message we are broadcasting to the world that we don't have time to explain them all here.
Vibration is everything. The music is part of the dominant frequency. Everything we do is within that frequency, and it's not limited just to sound.
We've started with the music industry because here we have more corruption than has ever been seen. We are an iron broom in the music industry, cleaning out filth and the scum that control it.
The music industry has reduced our youth to a sea of mindless slugs that care of nothing important. They do nothing to elevate themselves to the heights that we can help them attain.
Now we've talked to people from the skinheads. They've got the Ian Stewart in England with the Screwdrivers. There's White Pride. There's a lot of racially aligned bands, but it seems like this may be going a little bit beyond just a racial band.
We go beyond anything that has ever occurred on this earth. We represent the very nature of truth, and we will continue to represent it in every manifestation.
How long ago did you start this?
1984 was the beginning of the lycanthropic era. Your human writer George Orwell predicted that in that year a dominant force would come into the world to watch over mankind. He was correct. Perhaps he got a few details wrong.
I see. 1984, that did ring a bell. That did ring a bell there, yes. Now, as you continue, of course, obviously, you're not going to be running for office in the Werewolf Party.
We seek no mortal office. We are already the leaders of the world.
There is no existing office that is high enough to encompass the job that we have in front of us.
We are authority. We are leadership. We have nothing to do with politics.
You transcend economics and politics and all these things.
That is the excrement of human thought.
Have you ever
gone beyond it?
Have you ever been to Transylvania or places like that?
We've been everywhere in the world, 16 times over. Haven't you seen it?
I'm following here. I'm a new member of the party.
You're learning, Metzger. You're learning slowly but surely.
I can see I've got a lot of things to learn.
You have great potential in your way.
We admire your work.
I don't know quite how to take that. I've been told that before. Okay, we'll continue step by step now, and then we got to find out more about Grimsley, and we got to find out the frequency of this
Grimsley
power.
Can only be known through opening your mind to the truth. He will come to those who are part of the elite. There is a natural aristocracy in the world. They shall find the truth of Grimsley.
Now, is this the number of people you started? Did you have more people in the band, or has it been these people?
There have been other manifestations in other times, other centuries.
Are there those that can't live up to the Werewolf Youth Party standard?
There are those who have been mercilessly purged from the Radio Werewolf Youth Party for their activities.
Do you have some type of
our criteria
ability?
Are very harsh, very ruthless.
Do you have some kind of a mental power over these people? I mean, that you can destroy them?
We are the force of destruction that is also creation. From the ashes, a new phoenix is rising.
Do you? What do you think of, like?
Much needs to be destroyed.
You know, they would call you a Nazi, or a National Socialist.
Labels, words, they mean nothing
to us. A fascist,
We've been put in many categories.
Anarchist, no.
These human games simply do not concern us.
Doesn't.
Let them name us what they will. You will either join us or be devoured in the bloody path that leads to liberation.
I notice you have your party meetings always start at midnight. Is there anything significant about that?
Traditionally, throughout the history of Radio Werewolf, the witching hour has been the time for the ceremonial will to be conjured.
Well, do you have witches in your group?
Again, you're using mortal words. You may call it witchcraft, you may call it whatever you like. It is beyond human understanding. It simply is.
We have members from all groups, all categories.
Subcultures throughout the world that are despised, damned, hated, they see in us their leader.
I saw at one of the band or group appearances a lady in black that walked in ahead of you and walk through the audience, and what is her significance?
That is the Gothic poetess Anne-Marie Bates, who introduces us at every Radio Werewolf Youth Party rally.
I see. She always is there.
There are certain traditions that we follow.
Yes.
as we have always been there and always shall be.
Well, do you believe in werewolves, really? I mean, or is
What do you think?
I don't know. You know, the Germans had the werewolf division, the young people who fought in the last days of World War II.
Well, the name Radio Werewolf was the very last broadcasting unit in the Third Reich.
Aha, so then they would be correct in calling you neo-Nazi or Nazi.
No, we've simply adopted a name that represents a force of resistance against impossible odds.
I see, so you wouldn't take that title right on as a neo-Nazi or anything. You're saying
the Nazi Party was much too liberal, much too bourgeois. They have never achieved half of what we will do.
Too liberal.
We go much beyond their comprehension.
A good ideology.
I see. You would. Well, it went part way, though.
Yes.
Part way.
It was much too mild.
I would say that this may put you in a problem with some of the people, the big people in the music business. I mean, the big people in the music business aren't going to care for that.
We don't care for what other people care for. We have arrived. It is our destiny.
Is your power greater than their power?
Our power is greater than any power in the world, for it is the power of the universe manifest in form.
So you have no fear of these people?
They simply sell plastic discs. They have no idea of the content or the thought behind it. And if it brings them a profit, they usually don't question it. But that isn't our only source of exploitation.
For the true elite of our people, money means nothing. These people have absolutely no spirit, no soul, no mind.
The music industry is the most corrupt, perhaps the lowest, and a very good place for us to start with the cleansing activity.
We are a beacon of light in the darkness, and therefore we have started in the very darkest city in the world.
Where?
Los Angeles, California.
Well, it's becoming...
That is where our crusade has begun.
It's becoming not only dark in spirit, but dark, period.
As the entire world is. As the entire world is.
Yes. I think that...
there will be bloodshed and chaos on a scale never before dreamed, Mr. Metzger. And we are the agents of that blood.
What do you think will kick this off?
It's already begun.
It's begun?
It's already begun.
It is our mission, as it's always been our mission. We've been here in many incarnations and many times. And we're responsible for what a lot of mortals do call horror and fear.
I noticed on...
When the pattern of human life becomes too stagnant, we return to Earth again.
And in this age, you're using music to a large degree.
Because music is what the media manipulators use for their cynical abuse of our children and of our people.
And to reach the youth.
We're going to take music, the most sacred of all the arts, back into the hands of the true elite.
Now, I saw you on a television show not long ago, and here in Southern California, I think, and I remember the crowd was giving you all this trouble and everything, and I saw you go, "Silence!" And they were silent. Is this a demonstration of that power?
It is a demonstration of the leadership principle in action, Mr. Metzger.
It sure worked that night.
These mediocre fools realize who their masters are.
It also shows that they're looking for something they can follow, looking for a voice to tell them what to do.
Humanity is unfocused and directionless. We have arrived just in the nick of time to give humanity leadership.
Now the average priest or preacher,
we have no concern with anything
evil. They would say you're evil.
The average priest or preacher is that, average.
Do you think there is beyond good and evil, like Nietzsche
Let's
said?
get back to... Your philosopher Friedrich Nietzsche had a few good ideas. We have transcended even him.
See, we don't have all that.
But do you have a type of philosophy written down?
The scroll of Grimsley, which is available only to the very high devotees of the Radio Werewolf Youth Party, lays down a basic foundation, 25 points that explain what the Radio Werewolf Youth Party is all about.
And does it say what they expect of their followers, their members?
Our criteria for membership are so high we do not allow anyone near Radio Werewolf that does not fit those criteria.
So it's really quite an honor for me to get this pin and this card here.
In fact, I might say this is the greatest highlight of your life, Tom Metzger.
It says to be presented at all Radio Werewolf youth rallies. and that'll get me in. As long as I'm in good standing, huh?
We'll be watching
Well,
you.
what could I do
You're
that-
now in a probationary period.
What would I do that would get me out of a good standing?
We'll find out.
Yeah, but how do I know? How do I know some of the things I'm doing are not good according to...
It's good to see that you already have doubts about yourself. You're looking at yourself to see that you come up to our standards. I have hope for you.
Should I wear black? Would that help?
Eventually, the black-clad battalions of the Radio Werewolf Youth Party will march through the decaying streets of our world to restore order.
And you think gray must go then?
Gray is a perfectly acceptable color.
Gray and black, and I notice you're quite white. Sort of makes me look like a colored person here.
Well, I didn't say it, sir. You did.
Oh, yes. So anyhow, so these rallies go on all over the place, and
At strategic times,
yes,
we study exactly when the right time to release a little bit more of our message into the world is.
but only at midnight.
We've got it down to a science.
Why not 3 in the morning?
Each day begins a new era. The birth of a day at midnight. Every day history is erased and recreated, and we are there to initiate each day on the right foot.
But the night seems more attractive to you than the day.
In the night, people's emotions are more susceptible. They're weaker from their day at work. When we arrive, the majesty and power of the Radio Werewolf Youth Party imbues them with a new life.
And so you don't spend much time up in a day. You're primarily roaming at
We are
night.
occupied during the daytime hours, yes.
Well, does this? Can you make a living like this, or you're a true type of revolutionary that's devoting yourself?
This is the last and final revolution. The lycanthropic revolution is the revolution of the mind. We are going to at last transcend humanity.
You're going to become bigger than the National Socialist Party and the fascists and the
There
Reds
has
and
never
all
been anything on this scale.
more power than all of that put together.
Power undreamed of.
Beyond Nietzsche.
Like I said, Nietzsche had a few good ideas for a human being. We have gone even beyond him. God is dead. We are now the true gods of this earth.
And that's going to get you a lot of opposition there. From the preachers, they make a lot of money, you
The
know.
truth has always been opposed, but it has always prevailed.
But your truth maybe won't bring in the money. Their truth brings in the money.
We have no concern with materialism.
That's really something. That's really odd.
It's odd in a world that has fallen to this present standard.
The preachers are merely selling a right to escape death, a substitute for the fear of death. We embrace fear. Death is the ultimate unknown to mortals. We are not afraid of death.
And we want our youth to be fearless as well. Fear is the key to enlightenment.
I see you use fear, words like fear, we use evil, terror, and like this. These seem to be standard
Everything
words.
considered evil by the human race, perhaps that is what we are, but it is the highest good.
Yes, yes. And Grimsley has been around for a long time.
Under many names, under many guises.
What would he have been under names of in the past that you know?
I'm afraid I can't reveal that at this time. A study of history to an astute mind would probably reveal that better.
Does your members of your party see Grimsley, or does he manifest himself?
We are the voice of Grimsley. He has not manifested himself on this earth.
In a lifetime, one may aspire to the point of communication with Grimsley.
Have you established yourself as a church?
I will reiterate one last time, we have nothing to do with a church or religion.
Isn't this a religion?
It is more than a religion. It is the one way, the one truth.
You're awfully calm today from when I've seen you sometimes. Now, on that tape, you screamed quite a bit. I mean, you really put it out there.
At a Radio Werewolf youth rally, the message must be hammered home to these swine.
How would you do it? Give me a demonstration. Say a few words like you would address the young, to tell them.
This is the mode that we must utilize to communicate our message to you. I say to the youth of the world, contact the Radio Werewolf Youth Party, Crypt 1313, 8033 Sunset Boulevard, Hollywood, California, 90048. Attend a Radio Werewolf Youth Party and you shall see the truth.
That's very interesting. I'd hate to meet Grimsley, but maybe it might be a good thing.
It's a very good thing.
It might enlighten me.
It is the very best
he'd
thing.
He'd surely do me a lot more.
I feel that you already know Grimsley.
Well, I think
in
he'd
some
do me a
ways.
lot more good than Ronald Reagan, to be perfectly honest.
Certainly.
He hasn't done me too much good. I hear that Edwin Meese, our Attorney General, goes into a chapel and hugs a stone out of Jerusalem and prays for Israel 24 hours a day.
What more do we
sometimes.
have to say about the decadent state that our world is in?
Terrible. It's been good to have you on the show, and I'm glad to be a member
pleasure.
of your party. And
Welcome
I hope
to the
can...
Radio Werewolf Youth Party, Mr. Metzger.
Good luck, and thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll see you next time.